that and between what we talked about last time, I think you have enough to do a credible job with the layout. That is how you can create, use the box model to create things that are either aligned horizontally or vertically. So you can put things in, pairs of things in horizontal boxes and then stack them all in a vertical box. And that'll give you a nice basic layout. Good enough for what we're doing here in this class. I don't want you to obsess about doing things, making the UIs look beautiful. For what we're doing here in this class, they just need to be functional. But we do want to talk about how to improve the functionality of them. And that would involve doing things like not using text boxes for everything, because obviously everything is not meant to be in a text box. One of the exercises you have is to take the pizza classes and to create that, which we'll talk about. Well, let's talk about it now, all right, before we go into our example. Because in the pizza case, you have, and pardon me if I forget everything, but you'll get the idea. In the case of the pizza, you're going to have a UI that contains size. And it should be one of two things. It should be either a drop down or radio buttons. Then you'll have whether it has pepperoni or not, which can simply be a checkbox. You check yes or no. And then you can have a button, add to order. All right. Then you want the list of pizzas to be ideally in a scrolling thing. Actually, I don't know if that's part of the assignment or not. I'll have to refresh my memory. We definitely want to show the total cost of the pizza, though, and maybe the bake time. Let me pull up the exact assignment so I'm not misspeaking. I think that's lab 10. Start with pizza classes, create a GUI that adds, show the total amount of the order and a total bake time. The scrolling pane is an extra challenge. So you can put that in there if you want, but it's not a requirement. Okay? You have to show the cost and the bake time. Now, so that's what that should look like. All right? So you have to know how to do other things other than a text box to do this. Know how to do drop downs or check boxes or whatever. We've covered buttons and buttons and text boxes. So that's what we're going to look at today, is to do other stuff. Now, you might think about how this is going to work. All right? I would have an order class, an order object, created as an instance variable of this class. What do I mean by an instance variable? I mean declared outside of any function. All right? Because if it's outside of any function declared, you can use it and it will retain its values. If you declared the order class, or the order object, inside the onClick listener, then every time you clicked on it, you get a new order class, and you just get the last pizza. So you're going to declare this outside of any method as an instance variable. And then, On the on-click event, you're going to create a new pizza. You're going to set the properties according to what's in the GUI. You're going to add that pizza to the order. And then you're going to ask the order, what's the cost? What's the bake time? So this stuff will happen in the on-click event. You'll declare it up there in the as an instance variable. Okay. So let's look at an example of an interface that has more than just text boxes on it. Okay, where did it go? All right, this is a game that I have. A real simple game. It's meant to be like for little kids. And it's a game that allows you to roll 2 dice and predict whether the value of the 2 dice added together is going to be high, low, or 7. And you get paid different amounts depending on what wins. If you pick high, and it is high, you win. So you win whatever you bet. You get paid 1 to 1. If you pick low, and high is defined as 8 through 12. If you pick low and it wins, you win, and you get paid 1 to 1. So if you bet $1, you'd win $1. If you pick low and it was anywhere from 2 through 6. All right? If you pick 7 and it wins, you get paid 4 to 1. Okay? So the odds are against you in this game, as they are in all gambling games, because there's 36 possibilities for 2 dice, right? Dice can roll 1 through 6. If you have 2 of them 1 through 6, you could roll a 1 with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In other words, 6 times 6 possibilities, or 36 possibilities. 7 is 6 of those possibilities. I'll put possibilities so someone doesn't think I said 7 equals 6. So you have a 1 out of 6 chance of winning if you pick 7, but you're only getting paid 4 to 1. So it's like all gambling games. The odds are against you. Now, you then have 15 out of 36 chance of winning for high or low, and that's less than 50-50, right? Because 18 out of 36 would be 50-50, and yet you're paid even money. So it's a game where, I guess to teach young people the foolishness of gambling, right? Because the odds are stacked against you. But it's a good, simple game for us to demonstrate the interface. Because we wouldn't want a text box where you could just type in high, 7, or low. We want a drop-down or radio buttons or something like that. so that the user can make their choice. So I have 4 classes in here: a high-low game, a high-low test class, and Java and Dice Java. Let's see what these are. We might actually be missing one in this example, but let's see what these are. All right. I think we looked at this on Wednesday, right? Just very briefly at the end. Well, we'll look at it, and then we'll look at putting a user interface on top of it. Okay. I think I do. Okay, so this doesn't have a user interface. So I guess we have to write a user interface for this. All right? So that's what we'll be doing today. All right? Okay. So this shows me that I picked it would be, let me look. I think that means I picked low, and it was a high, so I lost. 5 and 4 is 9. I picked low, which is 1, and therefore I lost. Here I picked bet low. 3 and 2 is 5, so I won. Okay, so I have a hard-coded test of this where I pick low each time, and I roll the dice, and I see if I win. I could change it to be 7, I could change it to be high, or whatever, and it will show me if I win or not. Okay, here's my high-low game class, where I have 2 dice. When I play the game, I roll, and I look to see what their choice was. A choice of 0 means they chose low. One means they chose 7. And 2 means they chose high. So I tell, based on the argument of what their choice was and how much they bet, I see how much they won. So they win even money or lose even money on low. They win 4-1 or lose even money on 7. And finally, they win even money but lose even money on a high. I have 2 dice. That I'm using it here. And the dice, all they do is they roll a random and give a random number between 1 and 7. I do think we looked at this. Is that correct? Okay, good. Good. So let's look if I have a user interface, if I have to create one. Either way will work, but feeling a little lazy today. No, looks like we do not have one. So I'm going to go and I'm going to grab my frame from the example I did last time. I don't know about you guys, but it's so rare for me to start a program from scratch. I almost always take files from another one and use them so that I can just copy code and change what I need to change. We're going to go in here. We're going to copy this guy. And I'm going to call it GUI. Change the name from first GUI to just high-low GUI. All right, now we have up here what I want the GUI to look like. No, we don't. That was for the pizza example. Let's draw what I want this to look like. And this is something we can build on. I'm going to say that we start off with $100 or 100 points. So you have 100 points. And every time you play it, it's going to go up or go down. All right? I'm then going to have a drop down for high, 7, and low, where the user picks what they want. All right? I'll have a button. Then I'll have a message that says if you win or not. All right? And that, of course, will change this. So let's go and let's create a layout that looks like this. And we know how to do some of this. We don't know how to do others of it. I think we can put the labels up. I think we can put up the balance, the amount. I think we can put up the button. I think we can put up the button and the code to run when we run the game, when we click the button. I think the only thing we have to put on there is the drop down that has the choices low, 7, and high. So that will be the new thing that we'll learn. Okay, so let's go in here. And I'm going to call it high-low GUI. Extends JFrame, implements action listener. I could do that because I only have one button, right? I only have one button, so this can handle the clicking of the buttons too, as long as I have the on-click method in here, which I'll make sure that we have. I have to change what? Oh, thank you. All right, so let's look at what we want. I want a label that says you have. I have a label that says that I call points. I'm going to show how many points I have in this label. I'm going to have an integer private int for points. And I'll initialize it to 100. I'm going to have a drop down for the choice. I'm going to have a button. I got rid of the code for the button. Let's look. I'm totally missing the button. JLabel, JText field. play button. Then I'm going to have another label for the results. Okay. And we have another label to make choice. Now, I'm doing this with the thought in mind I don't know how to do a drop-down yet. So I want to kind of show you how I might approach this. I don't know how to do a drop-down, but I know how to do a lot of stuff. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this without the drop-down, and I'm going to hard code my choice to start. When I click the button, it's always going to choose low. All right? No matter what. Always going to choose low. So, set visible to true. This set default close operation, exit on close. I want that. I want to add button convert, it says. We'll change that to say button play. Oh, wrong one. I'm going to add that play button, add the listener to the play button, and then I'm going to add things to my panel. I'm going to add my label points there. I'm going to add my label choice there. I'm going to add my button play there. And I'm going to add my label for results there. All I'm doing now is trying to get the user interface to look correct. All right? So I'm going to go and save this. Yeah, forgot to change the name here. Ah. Yes, there is. Thank you. All right, and I can run it. All right, so there's my screen. All right, make choice, play. I didn't put any text in the points. I didn't put any text in the results. So I'm going to go hard code some of these things with initial values just so that I can make sure I get the layout right. So points go here, results go here. All right. And we probably want it to be more like 400 by 800. Everything is sideways, though. How do we make it go vertically? Pardon me? Yeah. We set the layout, and if you look in this example, we have a way to set the layout. We say that we want to set the layout of that panel to be along the y-axis. And we want to do the box layout. The box layout is similar to what we'd have like in web development with the block layout, where things just stack on top of each other. So now when we do that, they're stacked vertically. All right? And again, we can play with this to make it look better. I think this is good enough for now. Okay, so we have that. All right. How do I make it play so that I show, I want to assume every time we play that I choose low, okay? All right, so what do we do? Well, what does low mean? Low is a choice of 0, if I remember correctly. But let's not remember, let's look it up. In the high-low game, choice of 0 means low. And we're going to assume we bet $1. Okay? So we're going to assume we bet $1 or 1 point, and we're always going to pick low. All right? So I'm going to fill in that results label, that points label, by creating a function here. And I'm going to say label points equals dot text set text you have however many points you have points. All right? And I'm going to call that method to set the value of that label. All right? I need a couple more labels, which I forgot about. I need a label for the 2 dice. Because what kind of game would it be that we're just going to take the word for the person that you rolled, that you won or lost? No, you want to actually see the dice. So what's it going to take to play this game? What are we going to do here? I'm going to write the comments first. All right? I'm going to write the comments first. I'm going to create game object. Actually, I'm going to create the game object up here. So I create that high-low game object up here. Now what's going to happen when I press the button? Ultimately, I want to get the user's choice. For now, we're going to hard code to 0, right? Because I said we're going to just pretend that the user always picks low. So I'm going to create a variable called user choice. And I'm going to set that to 0. I'm going to call the play method on my game, and I need to pass it my choice and how much I bet. Well, call play method on game. I need to give the user choice and bet. Initially, I'm going to hard code to 1. So how do I call that method play on my high-low game object? Well, this is in the action performed. All right? I think I said on-click method before, but it's on the action list, action performed. How do I call the game's play method? Call method, we always need an object, all right? What object do we want? We want to use a game object. What was the name of the game object? G. Play. I'm going to give it my user choice. I'm going to give my bet. And my bet, I'm going to hard code to 1. All right? So I call that. I now need to find out if I won or lost. How do I know if I won or lost? This is going to return the payoff. And if the payoff is negative, you lost. If the payoff is positive, you won. So I'm going to say int payoff, and I'm going to say payoff equals gplay user choice bet. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to test this. It says if payoff is less than 0, you lost. Otherwise, you won. All right. Now, I want to add that payoff to the number of points. Points equals points plus payoff. And then I want to set point label. Last thing I want to do is I want to display the two values of the dice. So, I'm going to say label die 1, set text 2. Is there a method in the high-low game to give the value of the first dice? Yes. Get dice 1 value. And I'll call the same thing. I said dice 2. It really doesn't matter, but I should set that to dice 1 and dice 2. Okay. Do you see what I've done here? I started off just laying out, like in general, how I want it to look. All right? It's not very neat, the layout. All right, but I hope it will be functional. I then went in and connected my GUI with the game playing object. All right? In your case, you'll need to do that with the pizza and the order object. I made an assumption for now that the choice is going to be 0 and that they're going to bet $1. I call the function, get the payoff. If the payoff is less than 0, they lost. If it's greater than 0, they won. I add the payoff to the number of points, so I either increase or decrease the points. I set the point label, and then I get the two value of the dice. Okay, let's see if this works. So let's see if I made any mistakes or if this works or whatever. I forgot a semicolon. Good. Where is that? I mean, good that you reminded me, not good that I forgot a semicolon. Pardon me? Okay, excellent. Thank you. All right, private, I forgot to say the name of the class. Private high-low game. All right, these two are ints. They need to be string. How do I make them string? All right, and I'm good to go. So now I run it. I have 100 points. I make my choice. I play. All right, you have 99 points. I lost. I lost. I lost. I won. It's not showing the dice value, though. Let's see what's going wrong with that. I created those two labels, but I didn't put them on the page. If I create a label like this, I don't put it on a page, where is it? On the screen. I don't know. It's in memory somewhere, but it's not on my panel. So I have to add those two to the panel for it to work. So I play. A 6 and a 6 I lost. A 2 and a 2 I won. 2 and a 6 I lost. Lost, lost, won, and so on. I do this. Why did I do this? I do this to show that you can do a good part of the program, of any program. You can do a good part of the program even if there's really something that you don't understand. Like we have not talked about how to do drop-downs at all, right? So you might say, I can't start this program because I don't know how to do drop-downs. That's not true, all right? I can figure out parts of it, hard code to compensate for the parts I don't know, and then come back later and fix it. So in this case, I want to do a drop-down, all right? So I have to figure out how to do a drop-down instead of nothing. I actually could do this. I could say, could put a text box up here. And then just allow the user to type in a 0, 1, or 2. And if they type in a 3 or whatever, it just doesn't know what to do with it, and they always lose. In the interest of time, though, I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to look up how to do a Java swing drop-down. Google's smart enough to compensate for me. Okay. Swing is a set of classes within Java, a package within Java. So let's see. An uneditable combo box. Oh, you have to have Java. Let's go and copy this. Into here. We don't have 4 choices, right? We have 3. And the choices are low, 7, and high. All right, that's the 3 choices. And we can set our array for option strings. So that'll give us those 3 choices. Now, if we look back at this example, there's a property, selected index, which tells us exactly which one has been selected. There's a set selected index and a get selected index. So instead of hard coding my user choice at 0, I can say, I didn't want to do that. I can say, give me the selected index. So user choice equals option list get selected index. That'll give me the index of the choice that the user selected, starting with 0. So if they pick low, that's option 0, which is exactly what we want, because 0 means low. 1 means 7, and 2 means high. We look at this. 1 means 7, 2 means high, 0 means low. So I'm grabbing that user choice, and that's going to give me the right values. So now when I call this, it should work in the way that we want to. So let's look at this. Okay, what did I do wrong again? Did the exact same thing wrong I did earlier. Didn't add it to the panel. Yeah, let's put the panel, or let's put the combo box option list right here. Okay. We can pick 7, play, and we lost because it was a 2 and 2. We picked low and play, we win. So we're back up to 100. Now, it's kind of a goofy thing like that. We'll take care of that and take care of the appearances. I'm not really sure why. It looks like it wanted to fill up the available space. There, that looks better. So if I pick high and play, well, 6 and 1, I lost. Let's pick high and play, I lose again. Let's pick 7. I feel lucky. And I won. I'm ahead, so I'm going to quit, which is what you should always do when you gamble. Quit where you're ahead. All right. Everyone clear on what I did here? I not only wanted to show you how to use a drop-down, but I wanted to show you sort of the philosophy or the method of how you can code something even if you don't understand everything, simply by hard-coding values. All right? And simply by going in and saying, well, I know that this answer should come from a drop-down, but for now I'm going to hard-code the value as 0. All right? Next time we'll go and we'll pretty this up a little bit. All right, questions? All right, we'll see you up in lab.